it's my great honor and pleasure to host Professor Joachim Frank, the 2017 Nobel Laureate in Chemistry, in today's Nobel Dialogue, a series of conversations, one-on-one conversations, where we aim to find people with inspirational stories that greatly contributed to society and went on to win the Nobel Prize. Professor Frank won the Nobel Prize in 2017 for developing a method called cryo-electron microscopy, or cryo-EM. Cryo-EM is crucial in today's structural biology because it can image cell structures or other structures at near atomic level in high resolution. Please enjoy the dialogue. Dear Professor Frank, thank you very much for joining us in this Nobel Dialogue series, and welcome.
Hi, Alen. It's great to see you again. Last time we saw each other was, I guess, at Columbia, right?
Yeah, at Columbia, New York, yeah.
The first time it was in Croatia, and it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, we saw each other at Columbia and in Croatia at our Nobel Days conference, but now we have to chat virtually due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So first of all, how are you doing and how are you coping with the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I'm coping with it rather comfortably in our vacation home in the Berkshires, and we're very happy that we have that home. And we already went here in March. We are now living together with our daughter and son-in-law and the new granddaughter.
Congratulations!
Okay, so we have sort of a very antiquated way of living, with families together, and but we really enjoy every day with our granddaughter, and I can do gardening outside. And in between, I have many Zooms that are related to work, to Columbia, to ramp in and ramp out, and so forth.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I've read your CV, which is really, really cool. And I just want to focus on, firstly, your beginning, with experiments and everything. So I saw in Germany that you started doing experiments, I think at the age of 8, right? So I was like, what motivated you? What inspired you to do experiments at such a young age, and especially in a difficult situation after World War II?
It's really difficult to say what motivated me because, as you know, children don't have a perspective. They don't know what's normal, what's unnormal. I can only say that my friends, who played games on the street and so forth, they didn't really share this kind of experience. Some of them were interested, and most of them were not. So I had a sense it was something unusual, that I had a very, very big curiosity that had to extended to everything that I saw, and essentially to the nature that I saw around me, and to properties of dirt, properties of anything. So I had really a natural curiosity, and I had enough motivation to pursue things with experiments. I didn't know what experiments were. I didn't know what science was. I just did these things.
Yeah, great, just great. And I wondered, I also saw that you went in Germany to college to study physics, but we all know you won the Nobel Prize in chemistry. So what motivated you to go into physics, and when did you, if ever, make a shift to chemistry?
Well, the shift to chemistry really was on October 4th, 2017, when I got the call that I had. There was no shift to chemistry before. So I was a physicist working in biology and pursuing biology. And then essentially you become a chemist when you get to a resolution in which you can recognize atoms or molecules. Then all of a sudden you become a chemist. Mm-hmm. But in between, I really developed a method of three-dimensional visualization of molecules with electron microscopy at increasing levels of resolution, and then applied this new method to biological problems. And the biological problem that I really was most interested in was how protein was made in the cell.
Mm-hmm.
And this was really an accident, since the ribosome, which, as you know, really makes protein synthesis happen in the cell, is an unusual molecule. It's unusually large and very relatively rigid, and has high contrast. So all three properties make it very suitable as for demonstrating the development of the technique. So it really was an ideal molecule to develop the methods with. And in the process, as I discovered new things that had never been seen before, I thought, why not? Hey, what the heck? That, maybe I'm a biologist after all. And, I hired biochemists who knew what they were talking about. So I really thought that it was no good becoming a biochemist or a biologist myself. I needed to have people. I really needed to have people who had a formal education in this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the group really developed into half methods development and half biologists.
Oh, cool. Really cool. So basically the shift to chemistry was when you won the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I also saw that you from Germany, you went to the US and lived there and live still here for quite a while. And I saw your really vivid descriptions of the differences between Germany and the US in terms of maybe lifestyle, architecture. So what would you say were the most, what would you say would be the biggest difference between life in general in Germany versus the US, maybe then and now, and has it changed in any way?
Well, lifestyle is an important difference, and I was immediately plunged into the most drastic change since I wound up in California the first time in 1970, and there obviously you hardly see people on the street walking on the street. It's everybody is in cars and on driving around. So you drive in order to get groceries and so on. None of this I had seen before.
Yeah.
So this is a very drastic change in lifestyle that it experienced. And then I think another observation was really the lack of formality. That when you made friends, you were immediately invited into people's houses, and then you could go to the fridge and get your own things and so forth. So this is all. This was much more. Everything was much more formal in Germany.
Yeah.
The habit of driving around everywhere and the necessity of driving around is something very unpleasant. It is un-European. It is unnatural to me. It still is.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the friendliness, the overwhelming friendliness and informality was something very positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Here, so many people are in cars, and it's really not the same in Europe, especially in certain countries, for sure.
Well, even Boston is even more European, and
True. True.
People actually use the sidewalks and so on. But California at the time was really completely different.
I can imagine. I
Yeah.
can imagine. And regarding just research, I know at least here and probably everywhere, especially when you develop something new and unseen, there are many people who doubt those findings are real, are true, even after you publish. Some papers, there are still people who think maybe, who knows, maybe it's not true. So you probably also had those
Well,
people.
that still happened in the States, and I think that there was an uphill struggle really for 10 years. I came out with this method. So I had opportunities to present the method, but there were lots of people who thought that was a crazy idea. And recently, somebody admitted to me that she was one of the people.
Oh,
Yeah,
now she doesn't doubt anymore.
yes. Okay, so yeah, but my point is that I might not even have gotten to the point in Germany, whereas here there was at least an atmosphere that made it possible to make these developments and then fight for them.
Yeah, yeah. And then your fight led to the call in 2017, so 3 years ago, a bit less maybe than 3 years ago. So obviously the question is, how did your life change after the call until now? It's been 3 years. I mean, I guess everything changed, but can you maybe say a bit more?
Yeah, it changed. It changed tremendously. Um, because obviously I get multiple invitations, being have had opportunities to travel, uh, and something that is related to it is really that I all of a sudden have different new opportunities to interact with people
Mm-hmm.
who are on a different intellectual level
Mm-hmm.
than normally. I mean, these are people that have their own life achievements, and they have, um, they have the complete penetration of an entire system of thoughts.
Yeah.
And I like to have conversations with people. And now, I could consider them as part of a club or part of a circle of friends that they're all on first person basis. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is very nice as to have these opportunities. And you probably I have told you about the Lindau meetings.
Yeah.
I've been now to two Lindau meetings, and then most recently there was a virtual one. But these Lindau meetings bring Nobel laureates together, also from different disciplines, together with students. But these were always opportunities to chat with other Nobel laureates and discover their mindset and understand very very complex problems that are in their own area of research. So this is all wonderful. But then on the other level, there's a tremendous uh, increase of prestige and respect for my judgments. And that's even dangerous because I'm
Yes.
being asked. I'm being asked for all kinds of issues that I have very little knowledge of, and then I have to be careful that I actually think these things through
Yeah.
and not come up with my most ready intuition.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine people asking you all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Can
right.
imagine that. And could you like highlight maybe one or two or three things that you would say were crucial for like not just winning the Nobel Prize, but getting to that level of discovering something new, unseen before, like a technique. What would you say are crucial things for doing that?
Perseverance, of course. I mean, also stubbornness in pursuit of ideas that are not immediately recognized. And so, yeah, these kinds of things. And then what I also realized as I recounted my life and my scientific life that the role of accident, there were so many peripheral things that happened that I would say that I was really successful in recognizing opportunities that were on the wayside, that were not directly in front of me. And I think it requires this kind of a peripheral vision, this recognizing opportunities that not everybody actually realizes. You know, people who simply go straight with one established strategy might not be successful, but not because they are not not because they are not steady enough, but essentially because they refuse to look at these other opportunities on the wayside.
Yeah, you have to be open-minded.
Yes.
Fantastic. And like, I guess like now, apart like during the pandemic, research has been a bit toned down, like everywhere. But like in general, after the Nobel Prize, are you still active in research? And to what do you devote most of your time to?
I took this as an opportunity to essentially go into narrow areas that are new and that are not established. And one of them is the time-resolved cryo-EM. It makes it possible to trap states as they develop within a time frame of maybe a second or so. And then the other one is the that goes under the hashtag manifold embedding. It is a way of looking at entire, very large ensembles of molecules and trying to figure out what it tells us about the energy landscape, because then we can enumerate states and look which states occur only very rarely and which ones are populated. And by looking at these, one can find trajectories of low energy, and then one has essentially a little playbook. One can see what the molecule is actually doing, and how it's constructed, how it's shaped to perform in a certain way. And this is really the ultimate knowledge that one would like to get, which far transcends the structural knowledge.
Yeah. And when I visited you at Columbia, you seemed very into research, like managing the lab and everything. It's just fantastic to see people, but to see that. But apart from research, I know you're also writing fiction books. So, which is quite amazing, I think. So, what inspired you to write that, and why do you write fiction books?
Well, that's that's a bit that's a bit complicated. I think I really trace this back to the whole atmosphere in Germany, and there are two aspects. One is that the the German language was somehow poisoned by the exposure to the Third Reich. There were many things that were still around, that were loaded in some way, and certain words could not be used at all, even though their meaning were established meanings, but they were tainted, and so writing was something that was always, that had, you had to look over your shoulder in order to express yourself freely. The other aspect is that Germany, in terms of establishing yourself as a writer, it is as hierarchically organized, or even more than the science, the pursuit of science at Rome, at least at the time. At the time, so you could not find your way into recognition in any way. You would not be published unless you had a certain training and a certain school and so forth. So there was really no hope to get out of this. And so for both reasons, I greeted the opportunity to express myself in English. I cherished this opportunity. And then so I started writing, and then of course English as a second language, you have some kind of a ballast. You're worried that you never catch up with the idiomatics and so forth. So then it becomes I started in a very intimidated way, but then I got encouragement from some English professors who did courses, and so I was able to get into classes, in fiction writing classes, and there I got a lot of encouragement. That's how it slowly developed, and I wrote short stories, and slowly I got some of the short stories published. But most recently, I got a novel published, so that was a great achievement. It is.
What's it called?
It's called Anse.
Anse. Okay.
Which means by the seaside. It's a word in Dutch for by the seaside, and it's simply because it's called that way because it was a name of the hotel where scientists, an American scientist, goes and is accommodated, and the certain very strange properties, and that's why. Yeah.
Cool. So if somebody wants to read it, is it available online or somewhere?
The book is now available as ebook on 24 platforms internationally, and
great.
Kindle and Nook are part of this, but there are many more. Yes.
Cool. So I'll download it, or you can send me the book, the copy, to read it. That's fantastic. And I was just wondering, did maybe any of your writing and the ideas about like fiction topics maybe influence your research, or vice versa?
No, it's really part of the same mindset. I'm really walking around and seeing how things interact with one another, and so I can construct a reality from bits and pieces. Yeah. So in the fiction domain, there are bits and pieces that come from science, and it's no coincidence that the hero of this book here is a scientist, actually, but he is not in the same trade as I.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Did he win the Nobel Prize?
No. In fact, he has trepidations of never ever getting to that point.
Oh. So it seems very cool. Very cool. The last question, of this great interview. I like hearing this from people who really have experience. So if you could give yourself, like your younger self, one or two pieces of advice, which would be very valuable, like during college or high school, what would you give yourself? Like what one or two pieces of advice would you tell your younger self?
Well, I followed in every decision, and I was considerably stubborn at a number of points. And at one station, it was very important that I didn't listen to my mentor, in fact, develop my idea in opposition to him. So it was the mentor. I'm not saying the mentor is useless. I'm saying a mentor is sometimes important so that you can develop your idea in opposition. Okay.
Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah.
And then what I already told you is really the importance of peripheral vision, of keeping your eyes open to very accidental things that happen on the wayside. That's very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, all the stuff you said is really great, really great. And I would like to thank you for your precious time in doing this interview. And if you would like to add anything to it, please say it now.
No, I think I said it all. And then maybe one important caveat is you don't ever do research in order to get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I mean, statistically, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So don't think about it. I think my own prize is really the result of circumstances of my hard work, but also an incredible luck that this has been recognized just at the right time.
Yeah.
And chances were that it would never be recognized.
Yeah. But fortunately, it has been recognized. Professor Frank, thank you very much for this interview. It has been a real pleasure.
Yeah. See you, Alen. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
We hope you enjoyed this Nobel Dialogue. It's actually our first video that we ever created and published on YouTube. If you like this content and would like to see more, click like, share or leave comment below. And also, if you would like to share us some feedback, some ideas that you have, just send us a direct message on any social media or send an email. It's easy, just say hi and write whatever you want to write us, and we will reply as soon as we can.